What is up, flag football fans, players, coaches? Welcome to the Biokats weekly flag football podcast. Here is your week 2 recap of flag football action in both 5A and 4A in the beautiful state of Colorado. I'm your host, Coach Pitz. Special thanks to our producer, Jerry Howard with Biokats. Today, recap on a great week of action, including a state title rematch. We look ahead at a ton of season-defining type games. We'll look at how the leagues are broken down in flag, and we'll shout out, of course, some of our state's leaders. First, coaches, get with your ADs this week. How many games have you tried to watch online with no score, no sound, no downs, no distances, or just no feed at all? In Colorado, if we're going to be a leader in this state, let's really go for it and let's do better. We can't promote the sport and all the amazing things these girls are doing until we can see the sport. Would a boys' football game ever not be streamed? In college, teams have access to every play of every game, so hopefully we're not still living in the 1990s hiding film or only exchanging with certain coaches or programs. Let's use technology as our friend, not our enemy. We've also been to games where no one is there to set up the field. Announcers have no information. Let's do better for these girls. All right, that's my rant for the week. So congratulations to your Denver Broncos flag football coach of the week, Dwayne Tyler, head coach at Mountain Range. Let's talk week 2. Here are the MaxPreps standings. These are only standings using MaxPreps sort order. This will make more sense next week when MaxPreps publishes actual rankings once everyone has played 5 games. So you'll notice in some of the games I talk about top performers and in some I don't. It will usually correlate to whether stats were uploaded into MaxPreps by the time I prepared for this podcast last night and this morning, Sunday morning. So last Monday's flag football action, we had girls making it rain literally and figuratively, of course, or I should say making it lightning. Columbine over Grandview in overtime, 14-8. Big win for the Rebels against a really good Grandview team. North Glen is looking up. They beat Denver North 12-6 in triple overtime. Lakewood 31-6 over Regis Groff. Sailor Slaughter has a day. 16 of 22, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns passing, 2 more running. Pomona 44-8 over Stanley Lake. Pomona is cooking. Chatfield is clicking. They handed it to Smoky Hill 42-0. Check out Sadie Goodwin, 347 all-purpose yards. Jenna Lee catching bombs for 3 touchdowns. I talked about Ellie Buck last week. She hauls in a 22-yard score. Denver West over TJ 26-0. Freshman Alexandria Cordova throws 2 touchdowns. Coronado over the Vanguard School 18-6. Tuesday, another stormy night, but a few of the teams were still able to get their games in. Thunder Ridge shuts out Doherty to win 6-0. Denver South shuts out Heritage 13-0. We were stormed out down in the Springs, postponing Legend at TCA, so I stopped up at Mountain Vista, and 3 plays after I got there, there was a whistle for a lightning delay. They finished up and pulled away late against Arapahoe 35-0, but the game of the day goes to Rock Canyon later that night, playing great and beating a very good Horizon team by 2 touchdowns, 26-12. Through most of the upper ranks of 5A, anyone can beat anyone on any given night in the young season. So far, we've already had Horizon over Cherry Creek, Rock Canyon over Horizon, and Cherry Creek over Rock Canyon. So the parity with all of the good athletes that are coming out to play flag football, it makes things very interesting. More storms Wednesday, but some of the big dogs were still able to compete. Cherry Creek kept it close into the 4th quarter versus Mountain Vista before the wheels kind of fell off at the end, 32-0 final score. Valor Christian takes it to Columbine, 31-12. Faith Prinzo goes 20 for 25 with 5 touchdowns. And Ralston Valley is able to withstand an Arvada West comeback to hang on for a huge 20-18 win over their rivals. This was a great battle. The teams combined to grab 6 interceptions. RV went up 13-0 early on an explosive Emma O'Connor run and a Kaylin Corcus touchdown pass. And then Santana Pena answers for A West. She gets behind the defense for a 55-yard touchdown catch. She's one of the best receivers in Colorado. Down 20-12 late, A West made one last rally led by Emerson Drake, who did a John Elway helicopter run to will her team to the end zone. The 2-point conversion to tie it is off camera, but RV erupted. Then A West erupted because of a flag for pass interference. Replay it from the 5-yard line, and the Drake pass against the grain falls incomplete. Ralston Valley pulls off a huge win for them. I was mega looking forward to Lakewood and Pomona, but that was stormed out. Green Mountain was quickly into a running clock, beating Bear Creek 45-0. Ella Cockrum is one of Jeffco's best three-point shooters, and she's one of Jeffco's best defenders with now 3 interceptions on the season. Evergreen beats Steamboat Springs 13-6. Golden gets their program's first ever win, beating Littleton 6-0. Freshman Lila Ledford into the end zone for the Demons, which brings us to Thursday's action. Denver North over Vista Peak Prep 18-0. Leah Gentry throws for a touchdown and has 2 of Denver North's 6 interceptions on the defensive end. Cherokee Trail 41-6 over Kennedy. Legend overcomes a slow start to beat Denver East 42-6 before Lightning ended that game early. Maddie Smolin doing what she does, 4 touchdowns through the air and 1 on the ground. 6 different players scored touchdowns for the Titans, and 9 different players scored points between conversions and then a safety for junior rusher Victoria Curdy. In a Jeffco versus Continental matchup of very heavy hitters, Thunder Ridge takes down Chatfield 14-7. Chatty is the first to score on TR. If the TR still hadn't allowed a point when we play them, my game plan was pretty much just punt on first down, pin them deep, go for a safety. That was looking like your best bet to score any points against the Grizzlies. But Chatfield scores, but Thunder Ridge wins that one 14-7. Denver South over George Washington 46-0. Iris Duran. Remember this name, Iris Duran, 7 touchdowns thrown, and now most of those were on a short field because the Denver South defense forced 6 interceptions, but that team at Denver South is fun to watch. Rangeview over Smoky Hill 40-6, and in the rematch of last year's 5A state championship game, Mountain Vista beats Arvada West 27-6. Everyone knows about Vista's offense, but they really did it with their defense in this one. They grabbed 5 interceptions. Sophomore Emerson Drake was still able to throw for 248 yards for the Wildcats. This was just a 7-0 game at halftime, with A West grabbing 2 first-half interceptions to keep it close. One off of Ariana Akey, but 1 off of a halfback or double pass type situation. So let's get to Friday's action. Chaparral joins the party with their first game. They were loaded last year. They bring back a lot of their weapons. They beat Grandview 19-0 and definitely have one of Colorado's more complex offenses, plus a great defense. Zoe Fink, an efficient 2 touchdowns thrown, and Sutton Persicina is able to reel in 2 interceptions. Apologize to Sutton if I mispronounced your name. Valor beats Regis, but needed overtime to do it. That was kind of a big surprise, and again speaks to the fact that for the most part, anybody can win on any given night. Regis clearly getting better fast after their late in the offseason coaching change. They go to overtime, knotted 6-6. Valor pulls out the 13-12 win. Honestly, should just call this Team Prinzo. Faith throwing touchdowns and grabbing an interception. Savannah catching it and punting it, and both of them returning punts, and Valor is able to eke out that win. Doherty putting it together with a 31-6 win over Heritage. Aubrey Smith with 2 pick sixes, 3 interceptions, and a receiving touchdown. What a game for her. Manual 26-12 over Overland. And in 4A, Evergreen just sneaks by Wheat Ridge 73-0. Coronado over Palmer 25-6. Stanley Lake over Wheat Ridge 40-0. And it was a busy Saturday. Legacy beats Thornton 19-6, and they beat Denver East 27-19, all in the same day. Legacy is a team to watch. Ralston Valley takes it to Heritage 39-0. It's a clinic by Corcus, 6 touchdowns and 76% completion. 4A, Pomona beats the 5A studs from Horizon 13-12. What a huge win for that program. And then they go on later in the day to beat Heritage 18-0 on Saturday. Pomona's just feeling it right now. Green Mountain beats Eagle Crest 15-0. Took a minute for the Rams to get warmed up, but they had a good second half. Savannah Plumley, though, almost 300 all-purpose yards. That offense is moving. Marissa Van Gilder, 12 of the receptions for 134 yards. Arvada West takes it to Monarch 52-0. Emerson Drake says 76%. That's nothing. I'll show you 80% completion in that game. North Glen with a good win over Steamboat Springs 19-0. Ralston Valley wins the game of the day 33-7 over Horizon on Saturday. Chatfield goes over to Mullen and beats them 33-13. Littleton beats Denver West 39-0. And then in the late game, after yet another storm delay, Chaparral takes out a scalpel and precisely carves their way to score after score to dismantle Cherokee Trail. When it was 41-0 at halftime, I said, I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to watch the beautiful Colorado sunset and put a stamp on a rainy but awesome week for flag football. So that was a lot, but let's look at the week ahead quickly. I feel like August is and flag is kind of like a warm up. September takes on a whole new intensity. So everyone has a few games under their belt. Things heat up this week. Tuesday, it's Shap's impressive offense against Thunder Ridge's shutdown defense. As they say, something's got to give. That's going to be a fun one. Legend heads to Grandview. Wednesday, Legend heads to Rock Canyon, who's been quickly rising to the top of 5A. Valor and Chatfield will go at it. This is going to be a fun one to watch, as I just don't think that these two teams are like our best friends. A lot of good rivalries, but I think this is going to be one that's going to have a little hot sauce to it, which will be awesome. We've got Arvada West and Columbine. Basically, just put every team in Jeffco's 5A league, every game on your list for games to watch, because that league is small but mighty. Thunder Ridge and Mountain Vista, big rivalry there. A must watch. There are so many games to watch on that day. I'm excited to see Mountain Range back in action, taking on Legacy. Regis goes to Mullen. Another undefeated matchup with Rangeview taking on Northfield. Thursday, Shap goes to Arapahoe. Very excited to see Denver South take a shot at Valor. This is the first, is this team for real type of test for Denver South. And let me jump to Saturday. Watch for Chatfield taking on Ralston Valley. Rock Canyon, Grandview. Columbine at Arapahoe. Arvada West will take on Valor Christian. This is a 4 p.m. must watch. Lakewood heads to Dakota Ridge on Saturday. Green Mountain and Pomona will battle for the inside on Jeffco's 4A race. Evergreen is also in the mix there. And it made me want to take a look at these leagues. We're going into league play. Some leagues have already started some league games. Let's scope out the league makeup of 5A and 4A. And I think some favorites here. If we take a look at the City League, you've got Denver South, the kind of, I would say, the clear favorite on that one, but Northfield also playing really good in Rangeview, both undefeated. So that's going to be a matchup. In the Continental, it's as deep as can be. Douglas County is stacked this year. Chaparral, of course, is as good as it gets in the state. You've got Mountain Vista is kind of the question. Can anybody beat Mountain Vista? But Chaparral and Legend played them deep into the fourth quarter last year. Rock Canyon massively on the rise. And, of course, the wicked, crazy good defense from Thunder Ridge. So that'll be a fun race. Centennial, probably a 3-horse race, kind of looks like from the start of the first 2 weeks at least, with Arapahoe, super good, Cherry Creek, and Grandview, probably your top 3 there, but you got a lot of talent up and down the list there. In the Northern Colorado League, Horizon, of course, is stacked, but North Glenn's played pretty well. Mountain Range is a good team. Legacy had a really good day on Saturday, and Jeffco 5A. I mean, there's 5 teams right here that could probably make the final 4 in 5A. Arvada West, Chatfield, Columbine, Ralston Valley, Valor Christian. Lakewood is playing in the 4A division, which is also stacked, kind of a 3-horse race there with Green Mountain. And in addition to Green Mountain, you've got Pomona right there. That's going to be a great matchup coming up. And Evergreen is in that race. Lakewood had a setback with their loss to Steamboat Springs, but they could also be, if they can get a little bit of help, they could be right there at the top of that league. In the City League, that's going to be a little bit more of an open matchup there. Denver North has played good at times. George Washington is capable of playing really good. Manuel has got, I think, 2 wins already. So there's what's going on in the City League. You've got the Southern Colorado League with a very stacked, the Classical Academy, with our game with them being stormed out. We've only seen them once in their big win over Green Mountain, but that's got to be the favorite there. And in the Northern Colorado League, Mountain View sitting at 1-1 has got to be the favorite there. So that's a little bit of a outlook for the league races to watch in the coming weeks. I mean, we're going to be setting the tournament brackets in like 6 weeks, so it's going to be a fun, fast race to the finish. Let's look at some of the top 5A passers. And I know since I built this slide early Sunday morning, there's been, of course, more stats added. Ariana Akey, of course, is closer probably to 400 to probably about 1,200 yards. She's 5 games in now. There's 2 games here, but she's probably sitting around 1,200 yards. She is, of course, the state's uh, standard bearer as far as quarterback play. Emerson Drake is really getting comfortable. She's doing awesome. She's showing over 1,100 yards. Faith Prinzo, super efficient. I look at the ratings. This ratings column here, 113, 14 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. And then you got Sadie Goodwin. I mean, she was not even the starter last year. So she was kind of the question mark on Chatfield's roster, and they're stacked. I think that Chatfield is 4-1, and you got a quarterback who's stepped up and filled in a major role. Maddie Smolin, of course, sitting at a 127, 15-2, and that 73% passer completion percentage. She was closer to 58% last year, but testament to the hard work that she's put in. Kaylin Corcus crushing it with Ralston Valley and sitting, it's got to be feeling happy after that monster win over Arvada West. And Iris Duran, we've got a matchup with them, I think, around October 1st. So I'm going to have to do some homework on this kid. She's sitting at a 111 passer rating. And of course, Ariana Akey. I know there's only 2 games of stats in here, but I guarantee you when 5 games are in here, she'll probably be sitting at 140 passer rating because she is that type of player. Let's look at 4A. Savannah Plumley, you're going to see lots of her. She's, it says 8 interceptions, but remember, 6 of those were in the first game. So in the last 4 games, she's had 2 picks and 10 touchdowns. So she is crushing it. And Kira Knowles doing a great job, just 1-1 at Mountain View, but that's, of course, a championship pedigree program. And you've got Sienna Halverson leading an expansion program there. It's pretty hard to put together an 83 passer rating leading an expansion team, but she's doing it. So congrats to her. Let's talk about some of the top receivers. Savannah Prinzo, the Prinzo to Prinzo connection. It's like telepathy going on over there at Valor. Santana Pena, one of the best receivers. I think some stats after I built this slide were added. I think she scored another touchdown in their late Saturday game. Some other Valor Christian weapons, and then other Arvada West Wildcats weapons emerging: Lindley McReynolds and Alyssa Alberts and Alexis Mays. Braylon Looney, of course, she's a popular target there, sitting at 110 yards per game. So again, her totals with the 5 games that they've played, she's probably at 5 or 6, maybe 700 yards receiving already through 2 weeks of the season. That is next level. All right. Top 4A receivers. Marissa Van Gilder is a touchdown machine. She is knocking on 500 yards. Ellie Buning, that's Cubs' daughter. He's the basketball coach. He's an awesome dude. That's a great family. And Evergreen's found themselves in a kind of a three-team race, 3 or 4-team race in Jeffco 4A. Couple other Rams on the list there, a couple of Vista Ridge kids who are dominating. And so next, let's look at the scoring leaders in 4A. Marissa Van Gilder, of course, is a scoring leader in the state as far as what's been entered into MaxPreps. She's sitting at 56 points. Savannah Plumley doing it on the ground as well as through the air. Alicia Munoz, Denver West. Jessica Hopkins, Mountain View. Leah Gentry, Denver North. In the 5A side, Asha Daniels, Denver South with 31 points. Lucy Thompson's only played in 2 of the 3 Legend games and dropped 30. Dylan Moyer, Denver South. Denver South is lighting up the scoreboards. Lainey Gonzalez with 4 touchdowns. Maddie Smolin doing it with her feet, not just through the air. And some other targets emerging for Legend with Presley Easley, a very talented and quick sophomore. Caitlin Fujinami from North Glen. Eva Pipkin from Legend, a success story with a senior soccer player trying out flag for the first time this summer and emerging as some of the best hands in the Legend program. Santana Pena, she's already north of this 18 points based on last night's actions. And Lindley McReynolds from Arvada West on the leaderboard for points. Let's check out some defense. The sacks leaders, Phoebe Hudson from Littleton with 16 sacks. I got to see some film on this kid. I don't think I've seen Littleton play yet, but she's got to be an absolute maniac, causing trouble in the backfield. Bailey Cummings, Ralston Valley, Mia Kidd, Heritage, Madeline Almos, North Glen, and Victoria Curdy from Legend. 4A, Emery Bowman, Dakota Ridge, double-digit sacks. Savannah Trotter, double-digit sacks. Emma Lamar, Mai Travie, and Rowan Walthus with on the top 5 there in the state. So here we go. Initial MaxPreps rankings will be out next week, so we'll have a lot to talk to you about next week. How does the RPI work? It's a formula of 30% of your winning percentage plus 40% of your opponent's winning percentage and 30% of your opponent's winning percentage. So that is 50% of how the tournament is seeded. The other 50% comes from the MaxPreps rankings. So those will be out next week when more teams have played 5 games. The Chassa RPI will be another week or 2. Coaches, your participation is hugely appreciated. Complete the Google form that we emailed to you last week. If you didn't get it, just hit me up. My email is right here. Let us know the shout-out performances that we weren't able to highlight today. I do pull stats from MaxPreps Sunday mornings around 7 a.m. Some of the work was done on Saturday night to prepare for this weekly podcast. So the sooner you can get your information in there, the better. So follow us. We appreciate it. If you missed the 4A and 5A season previews, check them out. Go back and check out the week 1 recap. Otherwise, we'll see you next week on the Biokats weekly flag football podcast. Have a happy Labor Day. I'm Coach Pitz. Thanks for listening.